What up, YouTube? It's Jesse here. I just wanted to show you this Centerpoint Sniper 370 I picked up last year, right about Christmas time. It's been a pretty good crossbow. I've dispatched a couple deer with it. It seems to be just an all-around decent crossbow for the price. I got it on sale at Cabela's. For me, it almost felt like next to nothing. I guess I want to say it was about $200, but maybe it was actually a little bit lower. I can't remember what the sale was. I wish I was making videos then like I am now. But I'm telling you, it just all together seemed like a really good deal. And honestly, other than a couple adjustments, I have nothing but good things to say about this crossbow for the price. Some reviews said that the limbs cracked. I haven't noticed any cracking. There is some like weird shine here on the paint, but the limbs actually cracking, I have not seen anything. I've shot this bow many times. Like I said, I've killed many deer with it already. Or, I don't want to say many, but I've killed a couple. And, you know, I've waxed everything down. This one little bit right there, that one little tuft, I kind of wonder about that. That came out of nowhere. Last year I shot some of that up here. I don't know if my arrow did that or what, but it's been a pretty good bow. You know, it says, I think it's supposed to be 370 feet per second. I don't know about all that. I think I don't have, you know, the devices to prove that it's that many feet per second, but I don't think it quite does that. But for the price, this sucker has been on point. I don't even know if they really sell these anymore. I guess that's the serial number, model number. Right here is the logo. And I'm pretty certain, you know, Centerpoint's made by Crossbow, which is the BB gun, pellet gun maker. But I think they've done a good job on this. And honestly, for the price, I got it for $200 and maybe less. And you know what? I think why it was less for me, I got a discount on that as well, on top of what the original price was. So not only were they cheap, but I was able to get a discount on it. And I like this as AR-15 style, so you can adjust it to whatever you like. So when I'm not full up with tons of clothes, I feel like 3 to 4 works good. And then when I'm wearing all my jackets and hoodies and everything, the 2 seems to work a little bit better. I wasn't too. Can you actually see? Honestly, can you do that? Kind of. Wasn't too big of a fan of the sights. I've had a Barnett actually that was a good bow, good crossbow, and I like the sights on that one better than this one. But I like the sights on this one too. They're pretty accurate. I shot at a deer and it missed. And actually grazed the deer. I got hair, but there was nothing else, and it was about 35 yards off, and it was actually where the placement was good, but the deer squatted. You know, it heard it go off, so it started to dip down to run, and as it did that, I think it's managed to, like, I don't know, hit it in the elbow kind of. I don't know how, you know, in the front limb where the bend would be. I guess that's kind of like the elbow of the front limb, and it was able to really kind of juke my arrow. I mean, you know, I've heard of it happen. That's the first time it's actually happened to me. But that deer, second it heard it go, moved downwards and turned its body just enough to where it grabbed hair, but that's all it grabbed. That deer got skint, but that was it. And but I think the bolt placement where I put it was actually correct where I actually put it. But the fact of the matter was, is that I, miscalculated it. It was kind of, 35 yards off with the crossbow, and that deer did not want to die, obviously. So it survived. It survived. It got skint, but it survived. But I'm really impressed with this bow. Centerpoint. I don't know what else they're going to be producing in the future, but honestly, I can't find much wrong with it. It is kind of a probably use and burn kind of bow. Once you've used it up, buy a new one. But I plan on restringing it. I've had nothing but good things to say about it. I might change the scope out. That's about it. Well, okay, here's one thing. That buttstock is kind of noisy. So some of those that don't have that collapsible AR-15 buttstock might be better, actually, because it's just going to be less noise. This one, I don't know, just enough rattle. I can't even hardly hear it here, but just enough to where it's annoying, and you got to be careful of the fact that it might be moving. But actually, with this, you could probably get a stock. That's an AR-15 stock, and put it on there. It doesn't move. And like I said, for the price point, can't hardly beat it. But anyway, so what I'm using on this is, right now, I'm using the decimator lighted knock installed lighted knock installed the decimator. These are for around here. I haven't been able to find like the Luminoc brand. That's I don't know, reasonable price. They actually seem to be really expensive for crossbows. I don't know why. Overpriced, honestly, if you ask me. But supply and demand, I don't know how to make a freaking Luminoc, and the Chinese certainly do. So here they are. But so here's an empty pack. I've never actually used this, but I do use that style. They're 20-inch bolts. So when I first bought this, I bought the muzzies, and I shot a deer and was not able to recover it, and I couldn't find the arrow ever. And there's the tips. You can choose like if you want the half moon or whatever you want. But I got the muzzy with the muzzy tips, and there's nothing wrong with this arrow, right? Except it was late in the evening, and I don't think it ever had an exit wound, and I never was able to find it. And at that point, I was like, you know what? That's like the second time that's happened to me. I've got to get the Luminox so I know if the arrow passes through. And sure as shit, dude, when you see these Luminox freaking go through, well, decimator with the illumination knock, it actually happens. And that's a great thing. Like, well, I just skint the deer, which I don't know if y'all know this or not, but if you skin a deer or it wasn't the best shot and you didn't hit vitals, a deer oftentimes lives. I don't know about the gut shot, but they actually do live. Like, if you freaking nick them, and, just like a skin wound we have, I got one, on my knuckle or whatever, it's the same thing for them. They got a tough hide. Deer are not the easiest thing to kill, like people think. They're just ready to go down and perish. That's not the truth. They want to survive just as much as we do. But here's the interesting thing. So the fletchings are the same on both these freaking arrows. So what's the dang difference? I'm buying Muzzy brand one day, and all of a sudden Decimator is the same thing, or the Decimator is the same thing. They're both 20-inch knocks, slightly just enough difference where you can change the knocks out, but that's not even a huge deal. But I've got other ones that are just the same. But I like the way they fly. It seems like the fletchings see the angle that they got right here. I like the way they fly. I mean, I'm sure they're just cheapos, right? Everyone's probably hunting with some high-end stuff. But I'm telling you, I'm too broke to freaking buy the high-end stuff. Archery seems to cost quite a bit. Crossbow. Archery, anyway. I think the same for probably compound. My arm length is kind of odd when it comes to recurve. I've always wanted to be sized for the perfect recurve for myself, but I haven't. And that's not that expensive, but that's a different style of hunting, you know. I think we should definitely come together and encompass everything archery as archery shooters, because, you know, there's nothing more than certain people that want to stop hunting and not let us do this no more. And being divided because, oh, I shoot crossbow and, oh, you shoot freaking compound. That's ridiculous. You know, I don't, that, you know, now I'm going into politics, which is bullshit, but I think we ought to stick together one way or another, because there's another outside force that is trying to keep us from being able to hunt. You know, it's called PETA, shit like that, you know, and they can make money off of us, man. They definitely are, because all this gear costs a lot of money. The licenses and tags cost a lot of money, and if you do step out of the line just a little bit, that'll cost you everything you have. You know, you shoot a freaking animal that you don't have a tag for, then you're going to prison, just about, or you're spending a lot of money. And so I think it's a little ridiculous in that sense, and we all should stick together, whether or not you're shooting compound bows, crossbows, recurve, traditional longbows, and you're like really getting into the thick of things. But there's people out there that shoot the most traditional stuff, sinew wrapped broadheads that are, I mean, it's just crazy. You know, flint knap freaking broadheads. It's crazy. Arrowheads, and with real stick and stuff. You know, and it's just crazy. You know, we've came from lighted nocks to something that was once chiseled out in rock and flint. But we should all stick together. You know, I feel like they're just trying to take away our rights sometimes with archery. It's silly too, and just because you're like, oh, crossbow hunting's not the same. Well, maybe it's not exactly the same, but I can tell you what, a crossbow definitely doesn't perform like a rifle. Everyone acts like, oh, you shoot it like a rifle. Well, it still doesn't perform that way. It's still only shooting 370 feet per second at max, and it still has a lot of drop, you know. I mean, you're only going to get 40 yards out of it. If you're insane, maybe you're like the best shot in the world, you might get 50, right? Like, you might be some real badass, and there are some people out there. But anyway, I just thought I'd share this bow with you. The only thing I think I would do is, you know, I've adjusted the foregrip, I've adjusted the cock rope to where I can just hold it. Like, I just love having it when it's in storage, where it's just on there, so you don't have to look for it, you know. Sometimes they come awfully loose, and this one did, so I adjusted the rope to where it just fits perfectly. But the main thing I would adjust is probably getting a scope for it. And I don't know, like, obviously, I'm sure you can go high end. For a crossbow, I don't know how high end you need to go. It's just whatever optical you prefer, right, is what my opinion would be. But I might be able to get into arrows and stuff. I've shot many. So I've got the Rage. This is actually for, I think, a compound bow. It doesn't specifically say crossbow. But so I got the Rage here, and I think it performs very well. I killed a deer with it, and you can't go wrong with that. You know, that's just a standard muzzy. I don't think you can go wrong with that. I just I don't know. There's a lot to go into that. Everyone's got their own opinions. I like the mechanical, but I'm still wishy-washy. I don't know that I like it more than this. When it does perform perfectly, the Rage works great. It's fantastic. I think it's overpriced. I think all these are crazy overpriced. I really do. I'm thinking about going to YouTube and getting some real cheap shit and find out the performance myself and then review them for y'all. But anyway, that's another video. Please like and subscribe. I'm Jesse. See you later.